Good morning, class. My name is Chabeti. In our last class, we said today we'll talk more about sole proprietorship. And before we continue to what we were to learn today, I would love us to remind ourselves about the meaning of a sole proprietor. And we said the sole proprietor is a business enterprise owned by one person who is called a sole trader or a sole proprietor. We also said it can also be called a sole entrepreneurship. It is the most common form of business unit and usually found in a retail trade. Examples of sole proprietorship, there are small shops, there are kiosks and many others. And when we check in the side of the services, there's salons, cobblers, and so many others. So let's check on the characteristics or features of sole proprietorship. One of the characteristics is the business is owned by one person. The next of the characteristics is the capital is contributed by the owner and is usually small. And the main source is saving or her saving, and other sources can either be from friends, from the bank, or he can get it from his inheritance. Let's check more of the characteristics of sole proprietorship. We can see the owner enjoys all the profits alone and also suffers the losses alone. This because he's the only person who is running that business. So if he makes profit, he will enjoy that profit alone, and if he makes the loss, he will suffer the loss alone. Then we can also see the owner is personally responsible for the management of the business, and sometimes is assisted by the members of his family or few employees. He remains responsible for the success or failure of his or her business. Him leaving someone, either a family member or an employee, to run the business or manage the business, does not mean that the responsibility of the success or the failure of the business goes to the person who is running the business. It still remains on him or her because he is the owner of the business. The other characteristics is the sole proprietor has unlimited liability, meaning that in case of failure to meet the debt, his creditor can claim his personal property. In this, we see when you're starting your business or a proprietorship, you can go borrow money either from a bank or from a friend to start that business. But unfortunately, you are unable to pay that debt. So your creditor or the one who gave you the money can come and claim your property to settle the debt you owe them. A sole proprietor has unlimited liability, and this means, oh, we've checked on that. The other point is there are very few legal requirements to start a business unit. You only need the required capital, and after that you need to pay a little fee to get a trading license. A sole proprietor is flexible. What we mean by saying it's flexible, we mean it's very easy to change the location or even the nature of the business. You had your business in somewhere in Meru and you decide to change the business and come to Nairobi because you think that way you get more customers. So a sole proprietorship, it's so flexible. You can do that. Even the nature, you're selling something and you feel like it's not in the market so much, and you decide to change to another thing. Let's check on the formation of sole proprietorship. We need to know how it's formed and the requirements required for you to start a sole proprietorship. And we can see the formation of a sole proprietorship is very simple. Few legal formalities are required. For you to start a sole proprietorship, you only need to raise the capital required and then apply for the trading license to operate the business. And for you to acquire the trading license, you only pay a small fee for that license to be issued to you. Let's check on the sources of the capital for this business or this sole proprietorship. The amount of capital required to start a sole proprietorship is small compared to when you're starting other organizations or other forms of businesses. And the main source of this business you want to start is from your own saving, like from the saving of the person who want to start that business. And you can still get other additional capital from different sources. So that's what we want to check on. And one of the sources is you can borrow the money from your friends, from the bank, from the money lending institutions such as industries and commercial development corporations and Kenya industrial estates. You can also get the money from the inheritance, from personal savings, by getting goods on credit. You can decide, since you don't have the money, you can take goods on credit so that you can pay the money later. You can also take goods on hire purchase. You pay a little bit of the money, and then the remaining money you'll pay bit by bit. You can lease or rent out one of your properties. Maybe you have a house that you're not using and you rent it out to get money to start that business. You can also get the money from donations from friends or your relatives. Um, hmm, that's all for sources of, or for the formation of the proprietorship and sources of capital. Let's now check on the management. For the management of this kind of business is under one person, as we said earlier. And the owner may, however, employ other people or get assistance from family members to run that business. Some sole proprietorship may be big businesses, organizations with several departments and quite a number of employees. However, the sole proprietor remains solely responsible for the success of the failure or the failure of the business. As I said earlier, you can have your own business, but since you're occupied in doing something else, you decide to employ someone to check on your business. Employing someone does not mean that somebody you've employed is responsible for the success or the failure of your business. The responsibility still remains on you, and therefore you need to always check on the progress of your business. Let's check on the advantages of sole proprietorship. And one of the advantages is the capital required to start the business is more, hence anybody who can spare small amount of money can start one. So if you can really spare or save some money to start that small business, then they don't think there is any limitation for you to start one. The advantage on the requirement to form this business, it requires very few formal or legal procedures to set up the business. Let's just check on the decision making. The decision making and implementation is so fast because the proprietor does not have to consult anybody. You don't need to go and ask somebody to help in making the decisions. You can make the decisions all by yourself, and that makes it faster and easier to make the decisions. The other advantage is the trader has close and personal contact with the customers. This helps them in knowing exactly what the customers need and hence satisfying those needs. Since you're the one who is running your own business and you interact with your customers every day, you can get to know the needs of your customers and work towards satisfying those needs. The other advantage is a sole proprietor is able to assess the credit worthiness of his or are customers because of close personal relationship. Extending credit to a few carefully selected customers reduce the profitability of bad debts. So when you interact more with your customers, you get to know the credit worthiness of your customer. So when you get to know your customers so well, you can offer credit, but so carefully and selectively so that you don't make losses. The trader is accountable to him or herself. He is only accountable to the losses and the profits he makes to his business. Then we can also see that a sole trader is able to keep the top secret of the business operations. So, as a sole proprietor or as the owner of your business, you don't go around talking about your businesses or the secrets of your businesses. You keep your secrets yourself. He or she enjoys all the profits. He doesn't have to share the profit to anyone. Let's move to disadvantages of sole proprietorship. One of the disadvantages is it has unlimited liability. What we mean by limited liability is that if the assets available in the business are not enough to pay all the business debts, the personal properties of the owner, such as house, will be sold to meet the debts. I think we talked about this earlier. So, what we mean by unlimited liability is that if you're unable to pay your debts, your property will be used or can be used to pay that debt that you owe someone. The other disadvantage is there is insufficient capital for expansion because of scarce resources and lack of access to other sources. At times, maybe you don't have that much capital to expand your business because you're working on that business alone, or even the sources of whatever you're selling is limited. Then he or she is overworked and has no time for recreation because always you need to be there for your business because you're the owner and you have no one to help you. So that time to go for fans, for recreations, you don't have because you need to be stuck in your business, so you overwork yourself. There's lack of continuity in the sole proprietorship. The business is affected by sickness or death of the owner. So if the owner of a business or a sole proprietor dies, someone cannot continue that business since he was the only owner who was owning that business. A sole proprietorship may not benefit from advantages realized by a large-scale enterprises, such as access to loan facilities and large trade discount. You can access loans from the bank, but you cannot access huge loans from other loan facilities. Let's check on the dissolutions of sole proprietorship. And I think this will be our last subtopic for today. What we mean by dissolution is the termination of the legal life of the business. And we have some circumstances which may lead to these dissolutions. One of the circumstances is the death or insanity of the owner. When someone dies or becomes insane or not in the right set of his mind, that means the business tends to be dissolute, to be terminated. The other thing that can lead to dissolution is transfer of the business to another person. When you decide to transfer your business to another person, by transferring the business, you mean you transfer the rights and obligations of the business to the new owner. Another circumstance is the bankruptcy of the owner. This means that the owner lacks the financial capability to run the business. Since the money you're starting a business with was from your savings, you reach to a point that you cannot support your business anymore. Like you don't have the money to support your business anymore. This can lead to the termination of this business. The other circumstance is the owner voluntarily decides to dissolve the business, e.g. due to continual loss. Maybe you can make loss maybe for 2 consecutive years, and then you decide to stop this business, to dissolve the business by your own, because you feel like it's putting you to more losses. And also you can stop that business if you have the main reason as to why you started that business is accomplished. You can also decide to dissolve the business by yourself. The other circumstance is passing of a law which renders the activities of the business illegal. Maybe the business you are running is declared illegal by the law. That means the company must be dissolved. Then the expiry of the period during which the business was meant to operate. Let's say in your trading license you said that you're going to operate with that business for 5 years, and when 5 years comes, that means your expiry date has reached, so you have to dissolve the business. That's all for today. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Let's meet in our next class. We'll check on partnership. And the assignment I have for you today, go learn more about partnership, the advantages, the disadvantages, the formation, and the management and circumstances which can lead to the dissolution of partnership. That's all for today. Thank you very much.